This is the Auburn Football Preview, an inside look at Auburn football. Brought to you by your Alabama Coca-Cola bottler. Always Coca-Cola. Colonial Bank, your we can do bank. Food World, you can't beat Food World. Golden Flake Snack Foods, great taste since 1923. Alabama Power, the energy to make Alabama better. LDDS, the official long-distance carrier of the Auburn Alumni Association. By Ziegler, a tradition of great taste. Your Alabama Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. Price All Incorporated. Look for the lion at authorized dealers. Price All, on the prowl. And by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, the Caring Company.
Welcome. This is the Auburn Football Preview. We are looking ahead to this afternoon's Jordan-Hare Stadium homecoming game between the unbeaten Auburn Tigers and the East Carolina Pirates, one of the country's better independent powers, coming into Jordan-Hare this afternoon. We have two members of the Auburn coaching staff, as usual, with us to fill us in on today's opponent, Coach Kurt Crane, who coaches the Auburn defensive front, and Coach Rodney Allison, who coaches the Auburn running backs. Beginning of the year, Kurt, you would not have thought this to be as interesting a game as it has turned out.
Well, I tell you what, the more you watch tape on East Carolina, I guess the more scared we get. And, they've done a great job all year, and their quarterback is going to be one of the top players in the country before he's done. He's thrown for 1,800 yards already this season, and it's going to be a great challenge for us.
And it's going to be a challenge for the Auburn defense the offense to work against an attacking defense, Rodney.
Well, the thing I think that sticks out more than anything about this team is they're very sound defensively. They're very well coached. They're very opportunistic. They come up with a lot of turnovers, 27 total in 8 games, which is over 3 turnovers a game. So, you've got to take care of the football against these people and not give them chances early in the game and go from there. And that's what we plan on doing.
You'll see some interesting football highlights of East Carolina when we come back. Time for the game today, and of course the Auburn Network will be on the air at 11:30 with radio coverage. East Carolina, a 5-3 team, but when you break that down and look at it, they have lost a 3-point game to Syracuse, a 3-point game, a 7-point game to Virginia Tech, and a 3-point game to another nationally ranked team. Which one was that, guys?
Virginia Tech, Syracuse,
and Duke. Duke.
Yeah.
Duke is the third nationally ranked team that they've lost. That's their 3 losses. Mm-hmm. And then on the winning side, you look at that 56-42 victory over South Carolina, and that kind of strikes fear into your heart, doesn't it, Rodney?
Well, it does. And, we're going to prepare for this football game like we do every other football game that we play. And I think our offensive team and defensive teams we play our games one game at a time, and our kids play them one game at a time, and they believe that they're going to go in and win every football game.
Stick with the program.
So nothing has changed from a practice standpoint, from a preparation standpoint. So, we feel good about that.
All right, let's look at some tape of their defense. And are they an attacking type of defense?
Well, they're very aggressive. They're very sound. They play gaps. They're up the field type people. They're very aggressive. They play extremely hard. You're going to see some outstanding players. They've got a corner named Emmanuel McDaniel, who potentially is a very draftable guy. Their secondary is outstanding, probably the strength of their defensive team, and they're like our defense in some ways. If they swarm the football, you always see 4 or 5 guys around the ball,
and that causes turnovers.
And they play their responsibilities very well, and they are giving up some yards, and 375 yards per game and 21 points. But if they play good, we're very concerned, but we got to take care of our business. And as you're watching on film now, these guys in the secondary, they're around the ball, they intercept the ball, they get deflected balls, and they play really well.
One of the interesting, with all those turnovers, they're tied actually with Auburn in turnover margin nationally, 4th nationally. and they turned so many of those turnovers into points.
I believe, if I'm correct, that they've turned off those turnovers 80 points or something like that, which is outstanding. So once they get the turnovers, they're putting themselves offensively in a position where they can get some scores and get the ball down at the other end of the field. But you notice their pass rush, and they're always up the field. They're on the passer, deflect balls. I mean, play very enthusiastic. I think a lot of credit goes to their new defensive coordinator who's been there a year.
How'd they beat South Carolina, Rodney?
Well, they outscored South Carolina.
Well, that's true.
I mean, they did give up some points in that game, but they outscored them.
They got some turnovers, and
they got
ahead, and
yes, sir.
were able to stay ahead. Okay, it'll be an interesting matchup there to see if the Auburn offense can control the football and control the game by moving it on this defense and not turn the ball over. That's a key.
Well,
right?
I think anytime that you play a great quarterback and you play an offense that can score points, it's our responsibility to go out and make sure that we make first downs, and even if we have to punt, that we don't punt from back at our own end of the field. That you got to make some first downs and not go 3 and out, or you're going to put your defense in bad situations all day. We understand the plan that we've got to do, and we've executed before, and we plan to do it again.
That's been the secret of Auburn's success this year, the balance of the good defense and the good offense. Okay, these guys present some interesting situations on offense, Kurt.
Well, they really do. When you're looking at a quarterback in Marcus Crandall who's thrown for over 1,800 yards, and you think they're really a prolific passing team, which they are, but also their running back, Junior Smith,
Let's look at
has
some
rushed
tape of Junior while we're talking.
for 900 yards. He's almost close to what Steve Davis has done here at Auburn, and we all know what we think about Steve. But Junior Smith, he's 5'6", 165 pounds, and this is against Tulsa, and you can see the one thing that he tries to do is break contain, and he's got the quickness and the speed to do that. Offensive line is very physical up front. They'll come after you and smash mouth you, and also they'll position block you. Their quarterback does a great job with play action passes. Also throwing a lot of 90 games, what you see here. They've only been sacked 7 times this season. And, it's a great challenge for us up front. We're leading the conference with 36 sacks this year, and, we feel like that we can get to them. And the thing that we've done so far this year, we've had great coverage, which has helped us get a lot of sacks, but we've also made quarterbacks make a lot of decisions in a hurry, which has turned into turnovers, which we just got through talking about what East Carolina's done. But
look at his athletic ability on this play.
Well, he's one of those guys got a double threat. He's going to look downfield, and if the receiver's not open, he's athletic enough to take the ball and scramble. And that's the one thing you have to do as a defensive line coach, is you have to worry about getting to the quarterback, but also being disciplined enough to stay in your rush lanes.
I would guess, Kurt, that this game is going to be something like next week's game against Zaire in Georgia. You're going to have to rush the passer a lot, and you're not going to have great success against him because he gets rid of the ball so well and moves around so well.
Well, to be honest with you, when you watch tape, you don't think about Georgia, you think about East Carolina. But you're right, and in the past, you see a lot of similarities in their offense. And I think Coach Logan mentioned earlier in the week that it's going to pull from the hip and sling it around, and that's what they do.
What do they got to lose?
That's right. So I tell you what, I'm excited about watching our team play this week because we're number 3 in the country, and we're going to go out there Saturday and we're going to get after some folks.
We'll be back in just a minute with some talk from the Auburn side of this thing. Auburn's Stephen Davis is a big back with speed, and he used those attributes in a record-breaking way against Arkansas. The big junior from Spartanburg ran for a career-best 246 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead Auburn's late surge to victory. Stephen needs 63 yards to pass the 1,000-yard mark for the season. Stephen Davis, the great Southern Wood, back of the week. Well, Coach, he had himself a day, didn't he?
He did, and
it was all coaching, wasn't it?
No, I wish I could say it was all coaching, but that young man, I'm really proud of him. I mean, he came in highly touted, and there all the comparisons and a lot of things, and he's played really good for us. And I think we're finally starting to see how really good Stephen Davis is. And if you really look at it, he ain't played a lot of football since he backed up Boston.
That's important.
A lot of things are working his way now.
Yeah. Okay. Terry Bowden said at his Tuesday press conference, you don't have to sell the players on this East Carolina team. You just have to let them look at the tape. Here's some comments from the Auburn players.
their defense is a great defense. We've watched them. They probably run to the ball better than anybody that we've played so far, and that takes away a lot from the offense when you have 4 or 5 hats around the football. And they have some strong defensive linemen, and they really try to get to the quarterback real well. And sometimes it does make the quarterback throw the ball a little quicker than he wants to, and that's what happens.
Well, it's kind of one of those times you have to rush him to get to him, but you're going to have to break down or tackle him. He's just one of them guys you're going to be able to run through. But, you know, we played practice against Damon Craig, and that's good practice. So hopefully we have some experience to get into a quarterback like that.
ECU has a quarterback that can move, he can throw, and he's strong, got a strong arm. And if he get in trouble, he got a running back he can dump it off to that can go.
Bowling ball type running back.
Yeah, and I mean he's a real quick guy and someone you have to respect. So like I said, their offense, but just by the film I watched on them thus far, their offense has my respect.
They strike me as a solid football team. They're not going to try to trick you and line up in a lot of different positions. They're going to line up where you really expect them to be, and they're going to be soundly coached and fundamentally sound. And they're just going to play hard the entire game.
You know, I know they've got at least 17 interceptions on the year, and that's very impressive. When you look at them, they're very aggressive. They make things happen. They're, you know, and you have to think about that when you go in to play them. You're going to have to be very careful, be smart with the football, not do anything crazy and throw into any kind of coverage or anything. And they make you do that. They force you into doing that kind of stuff, and, you know, as playing as aggressive as they do. And when they get the big thing that they can do is get the ball for their offense, and their offense can put the ball in the end zone or put points on the board. And that's something that as an offensive unit, we got to keep the ball away from their offense, and that includes controlling the ball and not turning the ball over.
Their offense is having a big year. You know, offensive-wise, they have a great quarterback, some good receivers, and a great running back. So we need to keep the ball a lot on offense, run the clock out, score points hurry, keep our defense off the field.
Well, we just got to strap it down and play it just like it was Florida or Alabama or anybody else. You know, they're a good team. They played and beat a few SEC teams this year, and they played good with Virginia Tech and other teams like that. We just got to come in and play them hard every down.
I would imagine Scott Stacy, that defensive end, will see quite a bit of playing time this afternoon, rushing the passer. Stephen Davis. Well, maybe it's too early to compare him to Bo Jackson, but by golly, some people already are beginning. Auburn fans have vivid memories of the last great superback to play in the Southeastern Conference. Bo Jackson was the man, 235 pounds with sprinter speed. He was a force, the likes of which the SEC has not seen since. While Stephen Davis has the same size and probably near Bo's speed, there have been few comparisons. The fact is, their styles are vastly different. Bo had great lateral movement, great ability to change speeds, and as he matured, he loved to run through tacklers.
About Bo's second year, he said, I'm going to, instead of people hitting me, I'm going to start hitting people. Is that the right mentality for a running back?
Oh, yes, because it get kind of tiring when people hitting you and you're not delivering the lick. But, you know, if your style is to take the lick, it's your style. But I'm kind of both ways. If I can run around, I'm going to try to run around. But if I can run over, I'm going to run over.
Stephen Davis, who backed up James Bostic last year, seems to just now be reaching the confidence level he had as the most sought-after high school back in the country. Remember, he set out a full year in 1992. While he doesn't seem to have the quick burst that Bo had, he is starting to blend his remarkable strength and speed, and he is operating behind a young and talented offensive line, which seems to get better each week.
We enjoy blocking for him. I mean, he's a great running back, and he complements the offensive line well.
You know, if he gets the block, he'll get it done.
That's right.
With his emergence as the leading ground gainer in the SEC and the approaching end of the season, there is the inevitable question of an early exit to the NFL.
I never even thought about it. It's just something that haven't came in my mind, you know. And as far as I know now, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here and play my last year.
We'll be back in just a minute with words from Coach Terry Bowden. Willie Anderson, number 71, is just a sophomore, but because he's played almost since the moment he arrived at Auburn, the big offensive tackle out of Viger High Mobile is a very experienced player, and against Arkansas, he played his best game, grading 84% with no missed assignments. Willie Anderson is the Great Southern Wood Lineman of the Week. The great thing about Willie is that he's fun to be around. You know, that doesn't show through on big old linemen. You know, Rodney, they're big.
He's a great young man. He is really so fun. Neat to be around, and he's a high. We love Willie to death.
Yeah, he's tops. He's tops. But last Tuesday at Auburn, of course, Coach Terry Bowden held his weekly news conference, and let's get some of his insights into how he views this East Carolina football team.
They are a very explosive offense with a great quarterback and a great tailback, and they are great athletes. I really think they would be top players. I believe both of them top players in the SEC. Not the top. They would be top solid players in the SEC. Defensively, they've got an outstanding defensive coordinator who has been around, Jet, and he's got the scheme he plays is very, very sound. They are tied with us fourth nation in turnovers, turnover ratio. They have 17 interceptions as opposed to our 16. They have 40% of all their points have come after turnovers this year. 80 points out of their 110 or 20 come after turnovers. Last year they had 34 points the whole season. They were up 28-7, I think, against South Carolina first half. 21-3 against Southern Miss in the first half. All those on turnovers. They create turnovers. They play. So they're very fundamentally sound defensively. They only got one senior in their defense, so you know they're doing something right. And so that concerns me. They are in bowl contention right now, so the games are all critical to them. Them and Memphis are in the bowl relationship they have with Liberty Bowl. Of course, they end up playing each other, so I don't know that our game would affect that because it's the determining factor is who wins the most of those two. Yeah, I think that's about right. So maybe they'll just say, heck, let's save everybody and go wait for Memphis, maybe. I wish they would. Save us. Don't take care. Don't worry about us. We're not a conference. We're not in their conference or their bowl lights, and focus on the other game. That'd be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. They know they're playing the third-ranked team in the country. What a great chance for them to come in and to build their program.
Indeed it is. Okay, let's check around the league now and see the SEC schedule on this first Saturday in November.
For hard-hitting, wide-open football excitement. For a tradition of pride, teamwork, and athletic performance. For the thrill of collegiate competition. You can always count on Auburn University.
And when I want real refreshment, it's always Coca-Cola.
For a bold, crisp taste you can count on time after time. That's why in Auburn and around the world,
you know, in the coaching business, I spend about as much time on the telephone as I do on the football field. But with the LDDS...
You home dish owners can call 1-800-TV-STARS to get hooked up. Airtime for the Auburn Network is 11:30 this morning. And we'll be back tomorrow with Coach Terry Bowden and the Auburn Football Review. Kurt, Rodney, y'all have a good day today. Go and get suited up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We will see you next week.